Good morning and happy 2-0 day to everyone. Head coach Austin Claunch and the UTSA men's basketball team just wrapped up a 2-game homestand with Tulane and East Carolina at the Convocation Center. But we're completing the bookend this week on road games with 2 away from the house in the Central Midwest. UTSA will travel to rematch with Wichita State on Wednesday and then head down for the second game at Tulsa on Saturday nationally televised on ESPNU. Coach Claunch, can you talk to us about the past week of Roadrunners basketball and give us your thoughts on the week ahead for UTSA?
Yeah, obviously two just really tough into the game losses last week where, first of all, give credit to Tulane and ECU. I mean, that's part of growing as a program and programs is you win those games. And, it's certainly frustrating for us to feel that, quite frankly, two that we feel like we gave away. I mean, a sizable lead against Tulane with 2 minutes left that, they make the plays and we don't. And then, the ECU game, you've got a 2-possession lead in the final seconds. As a coach and as a team, it's frustrating because you don't even feel like you're close. You feel like you're there, and you've got to figure out how to win those games, and your record looks completely different. And that's what we're in. I mean, that's sports, and these guys we're playing better. We certainly were, even coming off the week before with a huge win on the road, and now we go on the road against a Wichita team that we beat that's playing really well. They've won a couple in a row, and then a Tulsa team that beat us here. So never easy to win on the road or home in this league. We expect another one-possession game. I mean, it seems like every game in this league is nip and tuck to the very end. I like how we're playing. I like the direction we're heading in, but we feel we're playing well enough to win these games, not just continue to improve. We feel like we're playing well enough to win, and now it's time to figure out how to do that.
Sean, go ahead and get us started.
Coach, as you mentioned, you're facing these teams this week for the second time around. How does that help you? How do you approach it differently when you see teams for the second time in a year?
Well, quite frankly, you'll look at the film from the first game, but we're playing differently. They're playing differently, and it's they got the same jerseys on, but quite frankly, a lot of the times you're playing a different team. And Wichita played really, really well yesterday. Coach Mills has got those guys playing at a high level, really competing. It's Wichita State. Don't let their conference record fool you. They got good players. They've been really close, just like everyone in this league. And if we don't play well and execute like we've been doing, it'll be a tough game for us. With Tulsa, they had a tough one this weekend, but they've had some good wins too, beating this Wichita team at home. And obviously that's a game where they beat us here. So you're going to take some things from the first game, but you've also got to understand what they've been doing recently. But most importantly, I mean, Sean, you're trying to focus on you and continue to do the things you do really well. Because when we do that, the last 3 times out, we've had leads in the last minute, and we've got to figure out how to finish those games.
Go ahead, Jerry.
You're muted, Jerry.
You are muted, Jerry.
Sorry about that. Hey, Coach, good morning. Was checking out some statistics on Marcus just before we got on, and I see he's shooting at a really high clip over the last 9 games. I've got him shooting like 50% from the field, like 58% from 3. He's averaging nearly 19 points a game. This is over his last 9, and I just it kind of snuck up on me a little bit. I see that young man do his thing every night, and I just had to go back and look at all the numbers and add it up. But he's really coming on here, and like I say, the last 9 conference games. In your mind, is Smurf playing himself into consideration for all conference with this outburst here?
Well, that's not necessarily my job to decide that. I mean, he's certainly one of the best players in the league when he's got it rolling. I fully believe that we've got a couple of guys that are playing their way into that, and I think you've just seen Smurf grow and mature throughout the season and gain confidence. Quite frankly, to play for me, you got to be aggressive and I think that last shot in the last minute against ECU on Saturday, where he just comes off the ball screen and they're sort of backed off in coverage, and he just jumps up and lets it go to put us up 4 with 40 seconds left. That's the kind of confidence and quite frankly, that's just how well he's playing. You mentioned it. He has played at a really high level. It starts with his work ethic, but I think on top of the work ethic, there's true belief and understanding now of the type of player that he can be and is going to become.
Coach, he was in a little bit of a lull before this streak. There were 4 or 5 games where he wasn't really shooting it all that well, and then all of a sudden he just caught fire. Was it just a matter of extra time in the gym and that kind of thing, or?
I wouldn't say extra time. I wouldn't say that. This is a guy that works as hard as anyone I've ever been around. So I think it's more of just not if but when. I'm a big believer in work ethic and you're going to struggle. It's basketball. You're going to have games where you don't make shots, or you have a couple where you're not playing as well as you think you should. But ultimately, if you consistently stay with it and put the time in, and commit to it, it's going to pay off. And you're seeing that now. And there might be another game or 2 games or where he's maybe not as on as he's been. That's basketball, but your work ethic puts you in position to be successful more consistently, and that's what you're seeing from him. He didn't change anything or get in there more. This guy's in there every morning, every night. He lives it, and so it was going to happen eventually. And now you're just starting to see him build with confidence, and I would expect him to continue to grow and evolve.
Go ahead, Sean.
Coach, how special and how unique is it? You've been a number of places that at UTSA, the majority of the coaches here have been hired to do exactly what you're doing, which is revitalize and elevate the programs. And, I see you guys on social media all encouraging each other. Maybe could you speak to the relationship within the head coaching community here at UTSA?
Yeah, it's funny. Literally walking down here, I texted Van, and I guess she happened to be in here and walked out, and I was talking to her. Of course, UTSA softball started 5-0 this past week. Of course, she did an incredible job last year, and they're off to a great start this year. And that's everyone. That's just one example. I think I thought that women's game last week against North Texas at home, especially for me with the vision that we have for our group, you look at that crowd in the convo, it's not just fans from San Antonio, it's people and coaches within this athletic department, right? Coach Traylor, Coach Hallmark, and it's awesome to see. Like you said, I think we all have different obstacles that we're trying to overcome, and I think as coaches you can understand those you can relate to those with one another, and so yeah, it's a special place. And I knew that, a little bit, when you take a job, but in being here, it's no surprise why you see, a lot of teams having success because of the support that we have for one another and what it means to be a Roadrunner.
Jerry.
Yeah, Coach, I wanted to ask, just in regard to the 2 games last week and now moving forward with a couple on the road this week, where would you say just the overall confidence level of your guys is right now? Was it shaken at all last week, or you are still the same team that you beat North Texas on the road not too long ago. Where is the team's confidence level right now?
I think it's probably as high as our frustration level, right? We're obviously frustrated because we feel like, again, we're at home and we play well at home. You look at our record, 3 of our losses, we've had 9-point home leads, and that's something that quite frankly, that can't happen. We've got to ice these things away on the road and figure out how to protect home. But at that same time, it gives you a lot of confidence because we've had the lead going in, these last 3 games in the last minute. Even before that FAU game where we really laid an egg. The couple of games before that, we had played really well. So we're really confident in every night we go out and in our ability to win the game. And it's like I said early on, it's not even at this point. Yeah, there's growing pains. I mean, you just touched on it. There's part of building and things like that. But when you're losing the way we lost those last two games, man, you don't even feel like you're close. You feel like you are there, and you've got to figure out when you are right there how to finish the game in that moment. And so, confident and frustrated, which is a good thing. You get frustrated because you feel like you're like I said, you're there. And now it's time as we keep putting ourselves in those moments, because we're going to be in a bunch of them down the stretch. This league, it's a bear. I mean, every game you watch on TV, it's like it's a 1 or 2 possession game. So we'll be there again, and we expect to finish it and put ourselves, like I said, in the best position we can, so that when we get to the tournament in March, give ourselves the best chance to go win it.
Coach, have you had a chance to talk with Primo one-on-one since your last game? He had a couple tough turnovers there right at the end. Looked like on his first one, I watched the replay, and on the first one that he made around 30 seconds or whatever it was, it looked like he was on the dribble, he was moving into traffic there, trying to get it up over half court. It looked like Ray might have been open on the other side of the court. Was it a matter of was Primo just maybe just kind of like he thought he could get to the half court on the dribble and it just didn't look up to see Ray? Or what did you see on that first turnover he made there?
Yeah, I think in those situations, especially with our team, with our ability to shoot free throws, once you get a team on the run, try to keep them on the run. And I think Pre thought, someone was coming maybe on his side and thought he was about to get bumped and get to the free throw line. And physical mistakes happen. I think certainly we want to keep that ball moving and get it across half court as quick as you can, because then they're probably going to foul. To answer your question, yeah, I texted with him that night, after the game, and listen, it's never a fun feeling. I've been there as a point guard, to have a tough turnover, sort of in the last moments, and it's part of growing as a player too. This is a guy that's had an incredible year. He's going to continue to have an incredible year, and he physical mistakes happen. I just talked to him and told him I love him, and we'll grow from this. He knows, he wants to win. This is a guy that is a competitor. And yeah, I think in that moment you look, maybe there's one he can kick ahead to Ray. I know Smurf's running. That one was a little bit tighter with them trailing, just with their length and athleticism. So, again, it's easy to, for me to play Monday morning quarterback right now and pause the film and say, hey, you got to do this, that, and the third. It's a lot harder when you're out there and they're moving at a high pace. And so, these guys want to win, and they all, got to continue to trust and believe in each other in these situations and find a way to get it done.
Coach, it's almost like what makes Primo such a great player. Maybe it got him in trouble a little bit there at the end of the game. Maybe he was just trying to do a little bit too much.
Yeah, sure. I mean, look, again, it's, you look at that first turnover, I think, like you said, there's maybe an option for him to get that thing up to Ray. And now once you cross half court, you're going to they're gonna foul. They're not gonna keep trapping, and that's a luxury that we have, man. We have a lot of guys that are gonna step up and make free throws at the end of the game. That second one's a little unlucky. Him and Ray kind of cut the same way, and he gets sort of off balance on the sideline. It looked like we were all trying to maybe call a timeout, but give ECU credit to tie that up and get a jump ball. But yeah, no, I mean, I think certainly we've got a group of guys that trust each other and are trying to win the game. So, and we got a lot of guys that can get it done at the end. So, listen, we're very confident, and as we move forward, we're going to be better in these situations.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We'll circle back around after the Shockers and then the Golden Hurricane. Thank you, Coach, for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Birds up.
Thank you, Coach.